Hello and welcome to another session at the Foundry. Those of you with eagle eyes out there may realize that I am not Bex. I'm Liz, and I will be taking you through a journey through prehistoric times. Joining me today is Joel Sita from Image Engine. Welcome, Joel. And he will be talking through Image Engine's work on Jurassic World.
Yep.
Someone may be aware of it out there. It was a very big movie.
Hopefully.
Yes. And also joining me is Liam Grant and Juan Salazar from the Foundry. At the moment, we will be going live on Twitter, and if you want to join us and if you've got any questions to ask us, please use hashtag #TFSessions. I'll leave it at that, guys. Take it away.
Thank you, Liz. So, hello, Joel, and
Hi.
thank you very much for coming all the way here.
Thank you a lot for the invitation.
Well, hopefully, I think people is going to enjoy this quite a lot. There is quite a lot of stuff that you're
To
going to
see.
show.
Yeah.
So, shall we start with it?
We should start. So I was the compositing supervisor for Image Engine on Jurassic World. And Image Engine is a company located in Vancouver, Canada. And creatures, robots, and environments. So we are known for District 9, Elysium, Chappie, Zero Dark 30, among San Andreas and many others. So, just to set up the mood, let's play the showreel for the Jurassic World.
Let's have a look at that.
Yep. All right.
Cool. That was
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool work.
It's really funny because I'm still really excited about it. So, at first, we got like 280 shots on the movie, and being 200 plus shots featuring the Raptors. So we start meetings with ILM to decide how we would share the assets, the pipeline, and how we would be all on the same page. We were really happy with the project, of course.
Wow, it's Jurassic
And
World.
excited, yeah. So we would start discussing with ILM what kind of things we could add to the shots. They would provide us with the storyboards as well as recordings from the director reveal. That was really, really useful because in the early stages, you would already have this kind of, you would have the vision of the director, what he expected for each shot or what he expected as a behavior for the characters. And that was really kind of fun. First time actually that we had that kind of.
So you had the whole information out from the director.
Yeah, and it was cool for the artists as well because they could just go in their tasks and shots, and before starting the shot, they could see what the expectations were, which was kind of not only address the notes, but that's what the director wants.
And have the feeling of really what he wants, not just someone writing a bunch of
notes.
And
yeah. And that was really fun. So with those meetings, we first, as I said, we would decide how we would approach the shots and the show, knowing that we would have to share everything with ILM, and we would also kind of start to getting people excited, meaning, well, now let's look back to the Jurassic Park movie. Let's go in the dailies and let's watch the movie, or let's check like previous articles about that, just so everybody knew what was
what was expected of you guys.
Expected, yeah. And we knew that Jurassic Park was a big reference for everybody in visual effects. So we would have to come up with something that played like an homage to the first one, but also that showed that we could do something in an improved way.
So did that make you nervous, or the team, were they nervous or excited about working for on such a long-awaited project?
Well, I think everybody was excited.
Yeah?
Yeah, more than nervous, because we know that we could do it. It was just a matter of having the time and the resources, and we had it there. So we knew that it was just a matter of get excited and get it done. That will look good.
Get all the composing, everyone on the whole pipeline, because you have all the CG guys as well and everything.
Excited, and that would work to the end. So, compositing wise, we got the plates, and then we knew we would have to tackle kind of a couple of challenges there. One of the challenges were we will have to work in 4 different resolutions and have one delivery resolution. All those, the majority of the plates were shot in film, so we also knew.
She's awesome.
Yeah, the film is great. I love film. We would have a lot of dust busting to do, as well as scratch removal, and we would have to pay a lot of attention to grain, chromatic aberration, any kind of highlight blooming happening. All that we'll have to really look closely, just not to miss. And that was kind of fun, because most of the shows are in digital, so it was kind of cool to go back on doing Jurassic World as if it was like a Jurassic Park movie, you know, back in the film. Yeah, exactly. All that played really well. So, as you can imagine, the Raptors, well, they were still being looked at, and lighting, they were working, animation, so we could tackle first the 2D only shots, and we had a bunch of those too, so we had to do like lasers, muzzle flashes, fire enhancements, as well as kind of set extensions. Something that was really cool in this project, that we had to do also the design and the motion graphics for the Raptors and the Soldier's camera.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you did the whole thing, and you had freedom to design it completely.
Yeah. So we first got approached with a kind of, in their offline, they had like a kind of a template there, just to kind of, this is the idea, that the shots we want to have this. But later on, they go like, cool, let's use that just for a reference, and let's come up with the elements. Let's think about, well, we want to show the topography, or we want to show the breathing speed, or we want to show what they're seeing in the back, you know, just things to kind of make the graphics more kind of dynamic and play something that would make sense on that. Again, as you can imagine, we did a lot of CG integration.
Yeah.
We did a
Just
lot
a
of
tiny bit.
yeah, well, it was kind of exciting that many shots featured the raptors, but we also did the forest, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of full CG environments, and that definitely was exciting to do. And on top of that, we knew that we would have to deliver the shots as kind of for stereo conversion.
Work.
So from the beginning, our idea was to keep things straightforward and clean.
To be able to tackle everything.
Everything in a proper time frame. So how we did that? Here it comes, but it's really important. So we got a great crew, and everybody was super excited about the project, from the PAs, coordinators, producers. Everybody was really into kind of let's do it. Let's make this be something that everybody will remember. And on top of that, we got all the talented artists that Image Engine has. And this was great, from lighting, effects, look dev. Everybody was giving like 100% or more in the show. And there were the unsung heroes.
Oh yeah,
The people in
those
the
guys are. You have to talk about them.
the people in the R&D and the IT, they were just great. I can say that even though we create the images, they are kind of responsible for putting all in a way that everybody's comfortable using the softwares and comfortable dealing with the different departments. So big thanks to the guys.
And that's what will give you, and we'll see it in a moment, kind of all the templates and being able to do everything, so the artists actually have time to do
To play.
to play and do the fun bits.
Yeah. So apart from the 2D work, let's talk about the Raptors. So ILM provided us with the models, textures, and etc. Then we would have to adjust that to our pipeline. Then we would choose like a key shots for specific sequences, and we would work on those key shots for kind of a more kind of in-shot look dev, right? Instead of a turntable kind of thing. So between lighting and comp, we would achieve this first look. Then we would come up with a template. And that template could be used for any shot as a starting point. So the template would be kind of the minimum that you should do as a first daily. So that would have all the breakup of the AOVs, all the specifics like, okay, cool, this shot we'll have to add like effects wood chips or effects dust. All that would be put it in a way that would make sense for the shot, for every shot, and also for the stereo delivery. So that was really kind of clean and easy to transfer between kind of, okay, maybe this guy now he's off today, so we can transfer to a different artist. And you open the script and you would see exactly the same thing that you would see in your script.
So every single script more or less was the same.
Yeah, more or less, of course.
And then obviously it has all the extra tokens that you'll add as you normally do.
Yeah, and everybody kind of like to add their own personal touch. And so things would change slightly, but the majority of the work would be similar. We tried to kind of make it fast as well, because we knew we would have to hit a bunch of shots in a short kind of deadline. So we created scriptlets for retimes, the AOV pre-comps, highlight blooms, gobos, muscle enhancement, eye enhancement, and so on.
And you drove all that through Shotgun.
Yes. and here again, we've been developing this for a couple of shows now, and we see that it's really powerful, because Nuke, it's flexible enough to kind of be integrated with other softwares, and Shotgun as well. So Shotgun being the project management tool, that would just play great, because we could add stuff in Shotgun and get that reflected in Nuke. Yeah. So I'm gonna just show how would it be like a first comp, and how an artist would work with that integration between Nuke and Shotgun. So let's go. So that's the Shotgun page. You get assigned to a shot. This is the page you're gonna look for the information you needed. In there, you're gonna have the frame range, the lens distortion, as well as there's a read time on the shot. On top of that, you would also have all the assets that would be needed for the shot, as long as your plate resolution, as I said before. Well, I know that the artist would have to know exactly, otherwise tools would break.
Yeah.
And as well as the overscan.
Overscan is quite cool.
Yeah, it is quite nice. As well as the neutral grades. So all that information was important in Shotgun. And if there was any update, we could just update Shotgun, and that will be reflected into Nuke. Basically, Nuke would say like, oh, there's a new version of the CDL. You want to update this? And then you would just click OK, and that will get updated. So the artist would basically load Nuke, and within Nuke we have an asset manager tool called Jabuka.
So you use Shotgun as a project manager more.
Yes.
Then you have your own asset manager.
Yes, exactly, because that manages all the renders, assets, all the kind of elements that go between departments through Jabuka. And in there we work with bundles. So in this case, comp, it's going to use the comp in. So all the other departments are going to feed the comp department. So we'll have there the camera, the lens distortion, the plates, the clean plates, animation cache, anything you would, basically anything that exists in that shot, it's there. From there, we're going to load the basic template.
So I keep laughing at this. It's a massive template nowadays.
Well,
it's funny that we call that a basic template now.
Yeah, well, it's basic because it took some time to develop that. And once that's in place, you can basically just go for kind of, well, that's the starting point.
Yeah.
So that said, we have the plate there. You can just put it in. And then we had a gizmo that would look for that CDL grade within Shotgun. You would just load that in. Great, we have that CDL in. So you can just keep going. And you see that it's fairly, although there are plenty of nodes there, it's fairly clean. And it's fairly well oriented. So you can see that on the top sits the plate, and then it's just adding on top. So there, it's another tool that we have that you basically say which passes you're going to have in your shot, and that will look for the latest renders. So you're going to see that all those no ops, they're going to be filled up with the specific AOVs. Yep. So all that's in there. Of course, we had many more AOVs available, but that's just the starting point. Again, we knew, for example, this character Blue, which is the character that stays alive at the end of the movie. He would
Spoiler.
Yeah. Or maybe not. And then we knew that, for example, we would have to address notes related to the bounce light on her chest. So we would use a PRF, and selectively we would grade that bounce light in there. So you see that it's just kind of flexible. The template is just your starting point, but it's fairly flexible. If you need to do something, you can just add in there, and it will totally reflect to the end.
But we have all the tools already. There,
yeah, kind of pre-built.
Everything is pre-built for you, so you can dedicate yourself just to do the tweakings of the nice things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, we had this where the blue stripe need to be featured in a way that we could read all the time, the blue stripes. So we had to kind of boost the saturation and play with that. So we came up with this setup, couple of nodes there that the artists would have as well. And I know that the artists work in a fast pace, and sometimes they don't have time to look for everything. So we put a couple of nodes there that will be kind of notes for the artists not to forget. Just to remind, the shot. We need the lens. Otherwise, kind of tracking would go off, and then we would start kind of chasing. Why is the tracking off? And maybe it was just the lens.
Well, you did that with a few bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, so we added that for the chromatic aberration, the grain, because basically in the first pass, that's what you want to have. you wanna have the template kind of thing, plus the defocus, grain, chromatic aberration, which are kind of basic, but they're really important. And if you get right at first,
And then
then it just put that aside, and you keep working in the creative side.
So the first pass there with the template was sort of the minimum requirement, minimum expected, and then from there you can add a bit of your own creative.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So we would take this. Well, you said this is the first pass. We still need the clean plate there, so we have to paint out all the red dots. And from there, we would start kind of analyzing that comp and coming with the creative side of it. So basically, you would say, well, but that first pass kind of looked cool.
it's quite well done straight away.
Yeah, so now what, right? So now it's the time that you take ownership of the work. So you add your personal touch. You're gonna go fine-tuning the comp, add the extra detail. You're gonna have a play. Basically, you're gonna have some fun.
Some fun. And as a comper, I think that's the interesting part, isn't it? A lot of times you're always doing, especially when you do CGs, you kind of put the same things together shot by shot and everything many times. And by having these templates and the whole thing and the ownership, it kind of goes, okay, that basic part is done. Now let's play and
exactly. Of course, again, all this plays a lot more when we are not in crunch time kind of thing. But
crunch time?
Yeah.
What's that?
What's
Having the
All sounds
template
good
at the
done.
beginning allows you more time towards the end for
that, yeah, of course. So and now you basically have that first comp. You're gonna go in dailies, and everybody was gonna be watching that, and we're gonna address like director notes and supervisor notes. So you see, we have the background, midground, foreground. The shot's pretty dry. Let's say the elements are in there, they work, but it's pretty dry. There is nothing added on top. Things like the raptor eyes, they're kind of hidden by the shadow. So the integration with the feet needs some extra work. And then things like, well, the bounce light in the teeth, it's too orange. The inside of the mouth, it's too dark. So then you start talking, like, oh, cool, what can we do? So we know that this is the ground is covered with wood chips, so there will be quite a lot of dust. And then we thought, oh, maybe they're running around, so we should have at least a residual dust just lingering there. And then we came up with this setup and added a couple of cards with the dust element just moving slowly there. Again, just to add another depth clue to the shot. That was added, and we used the depth pass to cut out the raptors in there.
And it's kind of start telling a little bit more of the story of the place, isn't it? So
Yeah, exactly. Like they were running before, so there's that. Something else that came up, we would see that the raptors acting, and some of the creature effects work was kind of, well, lost with the lighting position. So we were like, oh, there is stepping, but we cannot quite see the tension in the tie. So again, lighting and comp went back and forth, and we came up with a setup in which lighting would provide like a pass, which would be the facing ratio pass, and we could tackle that then in comp.
So it's kind of enhancing the work from the animation guys, and to be able to actually see it in a sense. And
Yeah, we want to basically, the ownership goes back to all the departments, right? So creature effects, they spend quite a lot of time to make that work and look good. Then in the final result, we weren't seeing that. So you see that now we can just kind of selectively animate. And as she's stepping, we can animate that and
add that extra detail there.
yeah, the extra tension. We did the same for the eye glint. It's in the lighting and all, but sometimes, well, it's covering the dart in the eye. So we have to move it slightly just so we could read more of that. And we also had to come up with the Gobo setup. So the director sometimes called for a more dynamic.
Then I mean, look on the frame.
Yeah, and well, in the shadow, in this case, so we came up with this Gobo setup.
So yeah, can you explain a bit more what the Gobo is then?
Well, the Gobo it's a texture that you put in front of a light, just so it creates a shape, right? So in this case, we were using like a tree, tree branches and all, and we were projecting instead of lighting. We were projecting over the position pass. That was done first in Maya, and then we would take some time for them to just go back and forth. Can you move a little bit the gobo? Can you bring it back? Can you do this? And then we decided that, this can be done also in Nuke, using the same principles that two guys would use. So we came up with this 2D solution.
Which I think the nice side of that is actually using the 3D side to kind of get it to see the right or the kind of the realistic way of making it, and then making it a little bit more efficient by doing it in 2D.
In 2D, that's exactly what we're going for. And again, you wash the plates, and then this wood chips would be like a couple of bugs would be there. So we came up with this idea that we would have like a flies buzzing by the camera, coming out of Owen would step, and then a fly would come out of under his feet. So
you decided to do a fly inside Nuke.
Yes. So
to interact with velociraptors. Nice.
Yes. So our lead compositor, he came up with this kind of setup. You would have like a sphere, and from there you would have this quite cool fly flapping wings, and it looks really kind of static now. And then we're like, we need a way to art direct that motion. So if you say left to right, too fast, slow, we added a bunch of transformations there just so we could kind of customize.
So use the forces to drive them around. The space.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be something random. Would be something that you say, I want to have it from left to right. I want to have it fast or slow, and so on. So you can say that that's the final render. Yeah. So it's quite minimal as an element, but it adds that very subtle detail that just makes the shot look more kind of alive and believable.
And do the flies there but move around the characters?
Yes, they do, and we use the PREF and the position path for that. So you can see here that this is the first comp and this is the final, right? So it's quite different in a way, but it all goes towards that. We need to see the eye better. We need to have the residual dust. So we need to just work integration-wise the shot, which I kind of like.
And it's more about kind of the detail of the frame. It's not that you have passed at this point kind of the technicalities of it.
Yes,
now
exactly.
It's making the frame looks awesome and getting the story to work. And
and that said, for example, this shot, the first comp, you see that the lighting is kind of matching the plate. The shadow is going the same direction as the plate shadows. But then the director and the VFX supervisor, they wanted to kind of move the light around just to give more shape to the raptors, or just to emphasize a feature in the raptors. But that said, moving the light would move the shadow.
Yeah.
So
does it happen?
We needed to have like two renders. One that would be like for the wood chips and the shadow, because the wood chips, they have the cast shadow over them. Yeah. And then another one for the raptors. So we had to come up with this. So you see that we go a little bit kind of away of the reality, but it still keeps the real feeling of it. So here it's another example of that same kind of treatment in which you kind of pushed further. So on the top left, you have the original plate. You see the nice foliage there, a wall. But when we dropped in the raptors, first the foliage, it looked kind of out of scale. And second, the wall was just crashing. With the raptors. So on the right side, you can see that we paint that out. We add the raptors, but you can see that now they are just too dark. There's no kind of light. And if you look at the bottom there, we can see that it's a really bright sunny day. So we had to go towards that. Then first question was like, where they are in space, how we would make that look right. So instead of guessing, we just lighting rendered a pass just for kind of approval purposes, in which they took the light and they rotated 180 degrees. So the director and the VFX soup could step frame by frame and basically pick a frame in which they thought that the lighting was interesting and looking good.
And that would stop having to go back
yeah,
later on and change the...
And change that, exactly. That the main purpose of that is exactly, instead of we saying, we'll do this, send to them and then get notes, we said, well, we can do all that. Which one of that do you want? And then from there, they pick the frame. I kind of like, because then you can see the shadowing happening. You can see the shadow of the wall and the catwalk passing by.
Yep.
Then lighting rendered another pass now. And this, well, it starts to look much more interesting.
Yeah, and it starts getting... and this will be your first comp, in a sense, based on the template. And
yeah, exactly. Well, I would say that the first comp would be the previous one.
The previous one with
yeah, because that's matching the plate.
Yeah.
And then this is an additional work done, trying just to get the shot looking better. And then you can see that, for example, if you watch this shot kind of over and over, you realize that your eyes, they go to the raptor's back.
Yeah.
Instead of to the raptor's
face.
Head. Yeah. And it goes kind of everywhere because it's all bright.
Yeah.
So again, we start having conversations how we would do that. We ended up with the idea that first we would have to put a ramp from the tip of the tail to the back, just darken it, and then on top of that we would have to add the gobo. Again, just to have more of a play, more of a dynamic shadowing happening.
Make sure that the frame looks nice and you have a good read of the frame.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's about what you want to see.
Yeah.
You don't have to show everything. So we ended up with this, using the gobo setup, and the final comp actually looked like this. So it's not far from the previous one, but it just has that extra, well, detail, and you see more interesting things happening.
So the gobo there is it only applied on the dinosaur, or is it applied over the sort of the floor as well?
So we applied only to the raptors, and the reason for that was if we applied to the ground, everything would go dark again.
Yeah.
And then the idea was to keep like as if there was a pool of light over the raptors. So even though it doesn't necessarily, it's realistic. It creatively it makes sense.
But at the same time doesn't take you away from the reality in quotations, which I think that's the interesting part. And I think if there is junior compers listening to this, that's something that is very interesting. Is always kind of pay attention to reality and how it works.
And analyze the plates. But it doesn't mean necessarily that you're stuck with that.
Yeah.
So if it makes it look better,
it works.
It works. Yeah.
I mean, you're making dinosaurs, so.
Yeah.
So well, that said, yes.
We don't have to go there.
So here, just a couple of other shots with the same idea, where we have the plate, and I like the one on the bottom right there, where we see Owen, and he has this really bright light on him, but the arena, it's quite dark, and as you can imagine, we want to kind of play that same kind of lighting as the surrounding shots. So we ended up doing a lot of work on the plates. Yeah, and it was really kind of important to keep it in the same kind of environment, right? So for this shot specifically, we had to do a lot of roto, because you can see the catwalk has all this fine detail. The railing also has like a couple of cables running there. So all that was put in, as well with the residual dust, flies.
The flies have to be there.
Oh yeah. So this was the same thing here.
So it's quite interesting, even though normally the plates, you're not supposed to touch the plates and change the plates.
So
this one you did quite a lot of.
It is. So at the beginning, I was talking about the plates, and we would have the neutral grades, right? So we applied the neutral grades. They looked great for most of the shots, but some of the shots, they were shot throughout the day.
Yeah.
So the sunlight changed, and in that case, we'll have to push further and do some kind of adjustments, right?
Yeah.
And I quite like these shots because if you the before and after, it's quite kind of interesting. Then here another kind of really nice collaboration between the companies and the client. We have the shot, and we're supposed just to put the dead or the almost dead Apatosaurus there, and we dropped them in. We added a little grass on top, a little comp integration, and then in dailies we were looking at the shot over and over again, and well, they looked like they just fell down, right?
They were just sleeping there.
Well, could be, yeah, they were just taking a nap. And then we came up with this idea that, well, a fight happened between the Apatosaurus and the Indominus. So all the ground would have that kind of
The
clumps
bumps
and
the
chunks,
clumps.
exactly, would be all disturbed. So we proposed that. We sent kind of 2 or 3 versions of how we were
You thought it would-
envisioning that,
Yeah.
and the client really liked it. And what was really interesting, that after that, the director thought about something else. He was like, "Wow, yeah, the fight happened there, but what if we tell a wider story? What if we say that the Indominus came from right to left? He engaged on trying to chase after the Apatosaurus. So that's what you see, kind of a path of kind of
On the right hand side.
yeah,
of
on the
frame.
right hand side, on the
On the
the bottom there, yeah, and that would lead to the place where they fought, and there they get kind of killed.
So that is quite nice because you ended up actually helping the story and giving ideas to the director on how to actually extend even the story that he's telling.
Yeah,
through the whole.
and that was quite exciting about this show, because we would always kind of, you always work with the brief you have, but if you have the time and you have the ability to provide something else, you can always show 3 or 4 versions of things that you like or that you believe that will help the story, and they were really willing to go, yeah, and go with us and help. So I don't have to say that in this case, for example, we say that they have wounds on the Apatosaurus, so we also added
The flies.
the flies, yeah, and on top of that, we were like, oh yeah, the shot now looks cool, but you're gonna see the shot's pretty static. The camera's still. We're just kind of looking at this valley with the dead Apatosaurus, and then we knew that they were kind of killed not a long time ago, so the wounds would be fresh. Then we go like, oh, maybe there will be like a birds of prey that will be kind of
That
just
is starting to get in. And
yeah, get in,
Yeah.
get a chunk of that, or just be there, kind of fooling around with the Apatosaurus. So the final shot had all these elements in it, as you can see. So we have the additional matte painting on the shot, the additional birds, and I think it works quite well, because then your eye has more interest. It's not just staring at the dead Apato, but you see the little bird eating out from her back, for example.
Yeah, and flying away. And
Yeah, that was really cool. So here, just a quick look at kind of the range of the work we've done. So we had to replace a gray shaded Macati.
those shots are awesome.
The shots with the muzzle, yeah. I kind of like them because they really look like they're stuck in there, and then all the acting goes to their eyes, and it really reflects in every single shot that they were angry to be kind of stuck in there. But I also like all the little creatures that we've done on the lab, like the iguana with feathers, or the snake with double head, and things like that. And of course,
fun.
Yeah, well, I think so. It was really broad as work, and I don't have to say that the full CG shots were definitely the ones that everybody got blown away. Yeah.
Especially the Velociraptor one through the jungle there.
Yeah, exactly. And we had reference plates for that, so they had this dramatic volumetric light breaking through the trees and stuff, and we had to replicate that in our CG shots. So I quite like that they cut between a live action shot to a full CG shot, and it's the same kind of mood. Yeah. Well, now we can just take a look at the breakdown and see all the work that we've done.
Cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yes.
Very cool. Great
Thank
work.
you so much. That's just been incredible. Okay, we have quite a few questions for you. I hope that you're not done talking yet. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone who was watching, particularly Eclipse FX, who's given us a picture of himself as a raptor wrangler. Very much appreciated.
Looks quite good.
It does. It looks very impressive. Okay, so questions. How many rounds of reviews would you go through for a particular shot, on average?
Kind of hard to say. For example, the Gallimimus shots that we see the running alongside the truck, that shot took almost a year, basically. Yeah, and because it's a progression, so we started with 10 Gallimimus and then a little bit more, ended up with 60, and then was the very last shot to be done. So that shot had like something like 200 integrations, iterations. Yeah. So I don't know, another shot would have like 4 or 5 and it will be done. So I don't know if I have a number on top of my head too.
Okay. All right. Did you work with Deep at all, and if so, how did it impact your workflow?
So we did not.
You did not.
No.
So it did not.
So at first, we have our pipeline set up for working in kind of 2D, let's say, render passes, and we decided not to venture into this new thing for this show, and so we stick with the idea of having kind of holdouts and having ID mats to cut out the raptors from FX passes and so on, which was kind of at the end. It was kind of, I would rather do it deep because the show was a show in which animation would take quite a long time to get finished. So every time we would get like, this is the new animation, we would have to render it all again and update our comps. So, but the good thing is that we worked with the IT department, so the renders would be fairly quick. Ended up working well. So no deep pass and just magic.
Just magic.
Yeah.
Obviously, you bring dinosaurs back to life. It's got to be a little magic.
I see.
Yeah. Do you have a new spin on adding SSS afterwards to a render and compositing?
Subsurface?
I'm guessing that's what this is.
Well, that's
SS then.
Subsurface scattering.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So we would have our beauty pass, and many companies work in a way that they would have rebuild the beauty pass with all the AOVs. We work in a different way in which if you have the subsurface and you want to take it out and tweak it, then you do that. You take the subsurface, tweak, and add it back. It was a fairly straightforward way of working, and again, things like the nostrils, that would have to tweak the subsurface, the tongue, and the teeth, but it was basically the same sort of pre-comps that we would do with any AOV.
Okay. Were artists from both ILM and Image Engine working on any of the same shots?
Yes. First we did a couple of shots in which we were enhancing the plates, and then we would send those plates back to ILM. The artists wouldn't talk to each other per se, right? But we would provide something to ILM. Or for example, we've came up with the setup for the lasers, and then we had to send that to ILM. And the same way they had like a setup for the spear that they used to kind of stop the raptor, and they provided us with that setup. So it was really collaborative as a work.
Okay. So this is was there a lot of render optimization at the full CG shots, or were you like, screw that, we'll brute force it?
Well, comp-wise, it was.
You shouldn't say screw that at work.
Comp-wise, we definitely we would put like priorities and render like clumps and more memory for those shots. CG-wise, I think that they were all fairly not fast, but we had a good speed for the renders. Again, I'll go back to the IT guys working in a way, let's render this with this settings, and it will come out of the farm in in a quick way. Usually we would kind of the lighting department, they kind of have something really cool, which is like an auto comp, and so they launch the renders. Once it's done, there's an auto comp that comes out of that. So early in the morning they would come in, just check the renders, the comp, and then publish. So would be a kind of an overnight thing, and it was done. We would never be kind of waiting for too long for any of the renders.
Okay. All right, Juan, I have one for you in the
me.
middle. Yes.
Yeah.
What is your advice if someone's beginning to learn Nuke? Where would they start?
Where would they start? There is quite nice tutorials online, I'll say. We have quite a few nice stuff online with basics. I think just sit down with it first, have a look around.
Download the non-commercial version.
Use the
True.
non-commercial version. Yep, that makes life way easier. And I think Nuke, because it's node-based, is a little bit simpler in certain areas once you kind of pick the right nodes. So have a look maybe through the documentation. There is quite nice node. On each node you have a question mark on the top, so it's very easy to actually kind of go, and it will take you to the right place to understand what that node does.
I know the question is for you,
Yeah.
but something that I used to do when I was getting into comp that I loved doing was I would pick a shot that I really liked, and I would just try to replicate that.
Ooh.
So that would basically be kind of, that's my goal, my target. What do I need to do for that? Cool. So I have to have an element here to I don't know, like the dust residual. Can I shoot something? Yes, you can. You can do that at home, or you want to have a lens flare. You can use like an optical flare or any lens flare tool, but you can do it as well.
Yeah.
You can just light a lamp and put a camera towards it, and boom, you got an awesome lens flare. And then you build your own kind of comp. And with that, I guess that's for me is the best, because you're learning, doing it, and trying to achieve something that it's good.
Yeah.
It's not like, this is what I could achieve. No. You have to achieve that. And go with that. It's pretty
Just
fun.
get your hands dirty, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Joel, back to you. This I quite like this because I'm quite interested. How long did she run in those heels, and did they have to fix that in post? I think they're talking about Bryce Dallas Howard here, not the Raptor. I don't think there were Raptors wearing heels, as far as I know.
No, we didn't have to fix any.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's a pro.
She was wearing it. Yeah, I know that ILM did some shots in which they kind of fix it or they add it, but we didn't have to do any of that.
Okay, last one. If you could work on another epic franchise, what would it be?
E.T.
E.T.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
That's
go.
interesting.
I would totally go for that. Oh man, I would be so excited.
That's cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
It's
you.
just been absolutely incredible to see the behind the scenes and that amazing breakdown reel. It's been incredible.
Awesome.
We will be back in the new year. So keep an eye out for our emails or on social or anything like that. A big thank you to AJA for providing the streaming equipment that we've used today. And yes, so have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we will see you in 2016. Goodbye.
Bye.